Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I can't believe we're halfway through March. It goes really fast, huh? So, I'm really glad that for any of you who have tuned in live or are able to tune in live today, I'm glad you're here. Um, I'm also glad to say hello to any of the people who are watching later. Feel free to post your comments, questions, and thoughts in the comments. For those of you who are new to the group or who have not had the opportunity to view me on these videos before, my name is Jack Ori. I am a parenting coach and author who helps families of transgender kids to stop stressing about their children's transition and start rebuilding an authentic relationship that will last a lifetime. And I post these videos every Monday in my Facebook group, Support Network for Transgender, for Parents of Transgender Children. Um, and I also repost them every Wednesday on YouTube and on Instagram Live. So be sure to subscribe and to look out for them on whatever your favorite platform is. Now, today I want to talk about active listening. This is something we talk about in the group a lot. You'll see me say a lot in response to parents' questions. This is a situation where active listening may be helpful. And so I just want to go into a little bit about what that actually means because not everybody is familiar with the concepts. And basically when it comes to listening, there are two types of listening. There's passive listening, which is where you're just listening, where you may or may not be fully focused on the person and are responding the way you would respond naturally in a conversation, right? Usually, when somebody tells you something, then you respond, and then they respond, and there's a back and forth. Active listening is something that sort of disrupts the usual pattern, and it shows the person that you are really listening closely and intensely and trying hard to understand. And it's something that I recommend a lot when it comes to dealing with tough issues with your kids because it helps them feel heard and understood, helps them feel accepted, and helps you get some space for your own feelings so that by the time you're ready to talk about your own concerns, which you can do using I statements, I'll talk about that a little bit, but maybe talk about that more in a later video. Um, you can stay calm and you can really engage with your child on a different level. So, that being said, what's active listening? The first part of active listening, obviously, is the listening part. So, you want to make sure that you're fully focused on what your child is saying. And I just want to add, as a sort of an aside, that's something that you want to do, whether or not you're engaging in active listening or whether or not it's just a natural conversation, because nobody wants to talk to somebody who, while they're talking to them, the person's thinking about what they're going to say or thinking about what they have to do later today or thinking about something unrelated and not really hearing them or looking at their phone instead of at them and that kind of thing, right? So this is sort of common to all kinds of listening. Is the first thing is to focus on what they're saying and try to really get it. The difference is with active listening, once your child has said something, rather than responding with a natural give and take of a conversation, what you want to do is make the effort to respond with some sort of response that will show that you have been listening and are really trying to understand what they're saying. So there are a couple of ways you can do that. You might paraphrase, which is just say repeating what the child has said to you in your own words. So your child says, for example, "I'm really annoyed because um, so and so at school won't call me by my new name." That's just an example I made up off the top of my head. So with active listening, with paraphrasing, you might say something like, "So you and your friend didn't you your friend didn't call you by your chosen name, and that was upsetting for you," something like that. Or you can also try to get at the underpinning feeling behind it, which is a little different than paraphrasing because with paraphrasing you would say something like, you were upset because your friend didn't use you but didn't use your chosen name. Whereas with getting at the underlying feeling, you would not repeat the exact situation, but would instead say something like, "Wow, that must be a painful experience for you," or "That must be upsetting for you," or "It sounds like you were really upset with your friend," or "It sounds like that made you mad," or something like that. Just some kind of phrase like "you must feel," or "it sounds like," or "that was." And with that, the thing I would tell you is a lot of times parents are like, "What if I say it wrong? What if I say, um, that sounds like that sounds like something that made you angry, and my child isn't angry," or something. And the beautiful thing about active listening is that it is self correcting. So, say your child says, "My friend wouldn't call me by my proper name," and you say, "Wow, that must have made you angry." And that's not how your child felt. Your child will say something like, "No, I wasn't angry, I was sad," or whatever the case was. So, and then you can go back to the active listening and say, "Oh, I see. So, you were sad, or it made you sad that your friend did that," or something like that. So don't ever worry about making mistakes with it like that. It's all good. Um, Sometimes you can just use a phrase like "I see," or say "Oh," or "Tell me more about that," something like that. If you want your child to keep talking and you don't really feel like you need to paraphrase right now or get at the feelings right now. But And then the fourth thing you can do is you can ask a sort of open-ended question like, and it's really good to combine this with paraphrasing. So, for example, you might say something like, it, you could say something like, if your child says, "My friend didn't call me by my chosen name today," you could say, "So, your friend called you by your old name today. How did that make you feel?" Or you could say something like, "It sounds like you were angry that your friend didn't call you by your chosen name. What did you do?" Something like that. Just something that they can't just answer yes or no, because yes or no questions kind of shut the conversation down. You want to keep the conversation going. So, those are the basics of active listening. Um, Always focus fully on what the child is saying. Paraphrase or get at the underlying feeling. Listen carefully to the child's response so that if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Your child will self correct, and then you can respond with another active listening, paraphrase, or feeling getting at statement. Um, you can ask open ended questions, or you can say things like "oh" or "I see" to keep encouraging the conversation. And there was one more thing that I wanted to tell you guys about active listening that just went out of my head. Let me see, open-ended questions, paraphrasing. Da-da-da-da-da. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to tell you. Oh yes, supportive statements. Supportive statements are also, they're not technically part of active listening because you're not repeating back what the child is saying, but you can also combine with supportive statements, especially if your child has low self-esteem, or if your child is telling you that they did something that was difficult and you're proud of them, or they're feeling down on themselves about a situation or down about a situation. Like, you can say things like, "It took a lot of courage to stand up to your friend," or "I'm glad you shared that with me. I'm glad that you trust me with this," or um, "I think that it's awesome that you continue to be who you really are, even though sometimes your friends don't understand." Things like that. Those kinds of statements can be helpful as well. So again, that's active listening in a nutshell, and it's a topic that can take a while to get your head around. It's something that if you practice regularly, it'll get easier. If it's Don't beat yourself up if the first couple of times you do it, you might forget something, or sometimes you might forget to do it, and even with important topics. But it's something that I definitely encourage everybody to do, to practice, and I encourage you to leave your comments about how it works for you, ask questions in the group, and this week I challenge you to continue to work with active listening and let us know how it goes. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Monday, and I will talk to you later.